It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you last week? Oh, we started on Shaking the Monday Morning Blues with the Do Time crew. And we talked about the things that women start to say when she's done complaining and she is ready to walk up out that door. I'm not going over this again. Oh, that is one major one right there. She's not going to do these things that she's been doing over and over and over again. She's not going to say and see and do and not. I'm out of here. I am out of here. We'll see. Yep. Something that she'll say, we'll see. I don't think you want to get that. We'll see. No, that's a bit much. That's a bit much. And definitely headed for the door. What else does she say? I need space. Now, a woman does not have to be clingy in order for her just to want to share the space that she has with you. Because other than that, she might as well be by herself. So when she starts saying, I need my space, something is definitely not going well. What else? Let's see. I'm not myself anymore. That's the one I was looking for. You know, things change. Things change when relationships stop going right for a woman. And I'm not myself anymore is definitely something that she says because she begins to change and she does not like that change. So I think you need to start listening. If you haven't been listening, make sure you start listening so you can definitely get those hints. And we had our switch tip last week, the switch with Shantice. Learn when to be silent. And we just pretty much got finished talking about that. Learn when to be silent and listen. Stop doing all the talking. And you know, men, you are not known for chattering much, but you can chatter when you want to. Yeah, you can. And even though you may not be chattering, you need to learn when to be silent. Just complete silent and just listen and pay attention. And you know, the Bible speaks of this. We talked about this before. The Bible speaks of this, learning to be quiet, not talking. Silence is golden. And you will definitely learn if you have not gotten there already. So make sure you check out that switch tip because it was golden. Well, let's talk about it. Tuesday Church Folk Day rolled around and we got to talking about learning to be fishers of men. Yeah, and it ain't going to always come to you as you may want it to. No, you know, it's not about you going out and, you know, casting that line and, you know, reeling it in. It is not about you. It has nothing to do with your getting out there, but it has everything to do with your getting out there. Be ready to be fishermen. Be ready to be fishers of men. Because when someone says, you ask me how I'm feeling, when you say, how are you today? And they start pouring out, you better be ready to put those listening ears on. Learn when to be silent. And the Do Time crew gave a fantastic rundown of how to handle being fishermen, being fishers of men. And then I put the topper on, reminding you that you're not only fishers, but you are also fish. So, Tuesday was another day. You needed to go back and listen. Well, wow, Wednesday rolled around, and we had our girlfriend Vivian on with her socially conscious segment, and she got to talking about them ICE people who are still running rampant, even though there is a government shutdown. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know. There's a whole lot to be said when you're willing to do a whole lot for no pay. Mm. Well, Thursday rolled around, and yes, we got to talking about Tuesday's winner of the mayoral race. And Zoran Mamdani won, and we played snippets of his victory speech. And go back and listen, and then let us know what you think, especially if you are a New Yorker, a native New Yorker. Okay? Well, Friday, the men always bring it home, and we got to talking about that new male contraceptive pill. Yes, they're testing it, and it's almost ready to hit the street. Are our men going to take this pill? I don't know. I don't know, everybody, what they'll do. But it was one fantastic conversation. So make sure you check the last week out. The past week out was phenomenal each and every day. Okay? Well, today we are shaking the Monday morning blues all over again. And I don't know what kind of week we got ahead of us, because I had no idea that we were going to walk into the week we had. So I don't know what you want to do, but you want to go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody that it's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
Week is a doctor to fight bloating and gas. A healthy gut means eating healthy bacteria, and each one of these foods contains a different strain to fight bloating and constipation. The foods that I eat almost daily include things like Greek yogurt, kefir drinks, and kefir spreadable cheeses and other aged cheeses because they are probiotic rich. The ones that I eat just a few times a week include fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, and traditional brine fermented pickles, not made with vinegar because vinegar's acidity can kill off the good bacteria. Since these can be salty, I mix and match them and eat them just a few times a week to limit my salt intake. A new thing that I do is pair probiotics with a healthy fat like avocado, as this can help with their survival as they spread throughout your GI tract. I also pair these foods with prebiotics, which are good carbohydrates.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, and we are shaking the Monday morning blues. How are you? How was your weekend? I hope you are all doing well. I hope you had a wonderful, restful weekend. And you're ready to get this week started, because it's here whether you want it to be or not. It is officially November 10th. We are moving closer and closer to the end of this 2025 year. And I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready, but whether we want to be or not, we have to be ready. So let me say good morning to all of you who are out there in due time world. Let's say good morning to our girl Ketty. Hey Ketty, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We got a check-in from our boy Serge. Hey Serge, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We got a check-in from our boy Terrence. Terrence. Good morning, my king. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. We got a check-in from our girl Tamika. Good morning. Looking forward to chatting with you in a little bit. We got a check-in from our girl Viv. Hey Viv. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We got a check-in from Miss Grace. Good morning, Miss Grace. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're doing well this morning. We must say good morning to the ladies who always hold it down and make sure we are humming in the background. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Good morning. And let's say good morning to our girl Anika. Good morning, and good morning. Thank you, ladies, for always making sure we're doing well over here in Due Time World. Well, you know what we do every Monday morning, but I'm going to shift gear a little bit. So for those of us who shop at Costco, they've got some interesting things on this list this morning. Now, initially, when I started the big time membership girl, I did start off at Costco, and then we moved over to BJ's, and I gotta tell you, I'm kind of liking them a little bit more. I really don't know what the differences are, but I do enjoy BJ's a little more than I did Costco. So I don't know what, I just saw a couple of things on the first part of this list, and I'm gonna see if we've had this problem over at Costco, over at BJ's. So let me know if you belong to one of those big wholesale memberships. So that would be Sam's, that would be Costco, that would be BJ's. Now that's as far as I go. I don't know about any others, but let me know where you go, okay? So we can see how we're making out over here. So these are the things that are frequently returned, the foods that are frequently returned at Costco. So let's see. Oh, what's on this list? Fresh produce. Oh boy. So they're saying with the short life of produce, and it is, I have to tell you, we don't get a long time from produce, and produce is quite expensive to be throwing away the food. But you know what I've done, and I will share this with you before we even get started. I have actually looked up the best way to store our produce, and I must say, if I follow those that guidance, I don't go back. I don't regret it. It lasts exactly the way it says it should last. So if I remember some of this stuff, I will hit you up. I'll let you know. Okay. So they're saying one of the reasons why the produce is returned more often than we'd like over at Costco is because by the time they get home, it's already gone bad. Now, I'm sorry, I haven't bought from anywhere where it's already gone bad by the time I get it home. That's bad. And I have a supermarket near me. They've stepped their game up tremendously, but I don't like to buy a whole lot of produce from them. No, it just doesn't seem to be good. But it is still good by the time I get it home. And they're saying over at Costco, people are really complaining about that, and they ultimately return it. Now, what's that mean on our time? Gas? Money? No. So they say that Costco does have a 100% satisfaction guarantee return policy. And since it doesn't mention what it will take back, they'll take back everything, including your rotten produce. But that's whack. I'm sorry. That is whack. That is straight whack. So they say people have talked greatly about returning pea pods, squash, zucchini, and watermelons. So I don't know, y'all. They say in 2019, the berry recall was bad from Costco. 70 people were in the hospital. Wow. Wow. The second thing that people return the most, now this is not in any particular order, it's just the order that they're giving me here on this list. Dairy. Wow. They said they've seen several customers on social media talk about returning their dairy products, and they say one problem is getting milk home to find that they've already soured. No, what is this? Yo, this is crazy. Even when the expiration date is in the future. Yo. They say Kirkland, which we know is a Costco brand. In 2024, their yogurt, their Greek yogurt. And they said that followed 2023. So that's 2 years in a row. Wow. And their eggs. Wow. This is, oh my goodness gracious. Wow. The next thing, nuts. Whoa. They say Costco is infamous for selling lots of nuts, but a lot of people have complained about getting bad batches. Now, it's funny because they're showing, is that a seal? No, that's not a sealed. I thought that was like one of those pressure sealed things. No, it ain't that. But they say Costco is responsible for selling half of the world's cashews. Yo, how did they find out this information? Wow, they say, but the reason why people tend to return their nuts is taste and overall quality. Wow, they say that the social media people have checked. So they have gone to social media and they have seen the complaint level. And they say that people have complained about getting burned nuts, like Kirkland's pistachios. They say overly dry pecan halves. Wow. They say customers also complained that nuts had insect infestations. Specifically, walnuts have a lot of issues. And they say that the walnuts have gone bad. They're darker in color from oxidation. Yo, this is crazy. They say another problem people have found is worms. That is evidence Like, okay, so let me tell you something about worms in nuts. Comes from aging. I learned that a long time ago. Almonds, mixed nuts, and cashews in the shell. That means that, yo, this is crazy. Now, speaking of burnt, I went somewhere recently where they had a what do you call it? It was a ritzy place. It was supposedly, expensive place. And they were giving part of the menu, the appetizer menu, was like Zeppelins. Now, for those of you who know Zeppelins, you can get them from like the Carnival and things like that. Yeah, it's the same way they make. What's that thing? Shatis loves those things. Oh my goodness! You drop the dough you fry the dough. Yeah, and you put the white powdered sugar over it. 99% of those things on that tray were burned. And I'm trying to figure out, how are you selling this? I'm sorry. Yeah, selling this at the end of the day. We didn't pay for it, but the host paid for it. Okay, Shantice is giving me the name of this thing here. Hold on. Funnel cakes. Thank you, Shantice. The funnel cakes, and they were burned. The little Zeppeli balls. I was like, yo, how are you serving people this? Whack. Whack, whack. All right, we're talking about the things that have been returned at Costco. Protein bars. Yeah, we all know what protein bars look like. Let me see what happens. They say they just don't taste good. Yeah, they say most times people have gotten those bars and they say they have been the absolute worst. Their snack bars are the absolute worst. Wow. They say the what do you call it? The cashiers have returned. They say too many of those. They say that you can get your money back. Now, they say the bare naked almond butter bars were returned because they were just unpleasant. Now they say that this is high on the list of their returns. Wow. Meat. At Costco, meat. They have returned lots and lots of meat. They say the meat has been spoiled, whether it's in the clear packaging or not. They say that people have returned bacon for tasting a bit off, even if the best by date hasn't passed yet. Wow. So they're cautioning us to definitely check the expiration date. They say, but that ain't helping Costco meat. So they say they have found feathers in their ground. They have found feathers in their ground turkey. Another complaint was their marinated skirt steak, because it was somehow a marinating mistake. Yo. They say that they add a lot of sugar to their meat, so much that the people said it tastes like dessert. I'm done. I am done, y'all. Oh my gosh. Yo, this is fish. And what can you eat from Costco? Don't buy food. Don't buy food. Yo. So, the fish. They say that it's boiled. They say the people have returned because there are no indications that they have spoiled until they got home. They say the stinky Chilean sea bass, frozen mahi that tasted wrong, the lox that clearly wasn't fresh, and the smelly salmon. They say some of the sea bass, they found worms surfacing in their sea bass when they started cooking. Please do not buy food. Oh my gosh, please do not buy food from Costco. Wow. Frail bones. They say that that's a sign in certain fish that has gone bad, cloudy and slimy. You need to look for that. Yo. BJ's. Yo, never had this problem. I've never had this problem, period. No. Bagels and bread. What is left? Oh my goodness. So, you know, with bagels and bread, they're in clear packaging. They said, but they have been returned because they go mold fast within a few days. And their bakery bagels, they say, are worse than the commercial brands. Wow. They say that the refrigerated bakery bagels and bread are even freezing. They have to freeze those quicker because if they don't, they'll go bad. Tortillas, you know, the round flour, that's on the list. Lord have mercy. So that's being returned. They say mold. The tortilla fresca have been returned commonly for mold. They say that the ready-made tortillas, organic ones, they're not happy with that either. They say they have to keep them in the refrigerator or freeze them in order to keep them fresh because they were molding too quickly, the tortillas. Eggs. Now, first, two things with eggs. One, they cause way too much to be messing with. And two, eggs already are like dangerous if you don't take care of them properly. So, they say that their egg issue have been returned. I'm trying because I haven't read it. They have been returned because they've been spoiling. And they said, you know, when you buy eggs from Costco, you buy them in bulk. They say no. There were 10,000 units of Kirkland Signature organic eggs returned in 2024. Don't buy it. Are y'all ready for this? Alcohol! Yo, I have never drank, but I know drinkers. I've been watching this since I was a little girl, and I ain't never seen nobody complain about buying alcohol and having to return it. Yo, keep buying your alcohol from the liquor store, because if you have to buy alcohol from Costco, you jacked up because it's going to be returned. How do you mess up alcohol? Wow, they say that people have bought alcohol in bulks from Costco, especially during June through November, where there are it's high wedding season. They say they have been returned because the dates have not been good and it has gone bad. This is scary, y'all. Stay away from Costco. Don't buy their alcohol. Don't buy eggs, tortillas, bread and bagels, fish, meat. There are protein bars, nuts, dairy products, or fresh produce. But what you going there for? Lawn furniture, books, garbage bags. Wow, that was big for me. I'm sorry. That was shocking to Stephanie. Yo, that is crazy. Alrighty. So, and thanks to the loyal viewers of our Due Time membership, we are into the news now. It wasn't a lot of news. I got to tell you, I really got lost in a lot of different stuff, and it wasn't news. So the second thing I'm going to talk about, I'm going to stretch that a little bit because I can. But I got this from a loyal viewer. So out in Michigan, another McDonald's incident where this woman got mad at it was a manager. It appeared to be like a cashier, but it ended up being a manager out in Saginaw. And she was really upset because she said that she had been waiting more than an hour for her online order and she wanted a refund. And I guess they wouldn't give it to her. So they said the worker was calm, which she was a manager, so that probably explains why. And she was calling the worker a liar. And her name is Kashara Brown, needless to say. And they said that when she didn't feel like she got her satisfaction, she threw the scalding hot coffee on the worker when the worker turned her back. Now, what they said was, you got your coffee. That's all you're going to be charged for. Your refund is going to take 48 hours. Well, she definitely wasn't happy with that and threw the hot coffee on the worker. Now, it's funny because they said within minutes, they knew who she was. So they put a warrant out for her. So now they're looking for Miss Kashara Brown. They're planning to charge her with felonious assault. And they said McDonald's, this is not, and I know this is not the first time McDonald's has had some scalding coffee issue, but not from it being thrown. But they were trying to make the comparison as to what this must have been like, the degrees of the coffee, because they said back in, I don't remember, but I think this is a typo. They claimed that back in 1994, there was a woman, 79 years old, who was driving and a cup of scalding hot water fell on her inner thigh and they claim her genitals, and she was paid quite a bit of money. And they're saying that their coffee is known to be between 180 and 190 degrees. Wow. How do you hold the cup then? Wow. Well, at the end of the day, the worker, they say, was she did not have third-degree burns. Thank God she managed to, get out of that one. But she was burned. She was definitely burned. Alrighty, so this is what I have this morning, and I thought was extremely interesting. So the MAGA supporters, meaning those who voted for Trump, and I knew this, and I just got finished talking the other day about this. So they have gone viral regarding their post about their SNAP benefits not being received. MAGA voters. And I have been saying that ever since this took place, where they have seized people's SNAP benefits, that I would love to talk to the people that voted for him. Because if you get, SNAP benefits, you don't have a lot of money. That's why you get SNAP benefits. So I would love to talk to those. Well, They said, your wish is my command. They had quite a few people who went viral on the internet because they were complaining about them not having their SNAP benefits and how they feel. So one voter says her entire family receives government assistance, and she's begging Trump to snap back into shape and get us our SNAP. She says, I voted for Trump, but I don't think he gets how many people this is affecting. My kids, my ex-wife, my friends, their families, their grandparents, their great-grandparents, their grandparents' friends, and families. Come on, Trump, snap back into shape and get us our SNAP. And it's funny because it was just the other day that I said, well, how many people paying child support is going to be real mad that they voted for Trump, and now it's going to hit their pocket even more, because if mama dear ain't getting her SNAP benefits, you're going to have to put up a little more money. Good for you. I don't care nothing about it. I don't. You put this into effect. Thanks to you. This is why you and your ex-wife, your kids, their grandparents, and all the people ain't getting it. You can thank yourself. Another person, there's the MAGA supporter who is begging Trump to please take care of the United States. Dear Mr. President Trump, you've gone and helped our third country allies, but now the people of the United States of America need your help. The shutdown has now infected many federal employees, have lost their jobs, along with now people who are in need of food and have assistance when getting any help. Woo, woo. President Lincoln did good. President Kennedy did good. Martin Luther King Jr. did good. All standing for our people. Please take care of the United States of America. What did you think? It wasn't going to ever touch you? Okay. Another. There's this person who voted to make America great again, walking around with their shirt on, and said, I voted today, or I voted back in 24, and I hadn't voted in 8 years, and I'm really embarrassed because now I need financial help with my groceries. Wow. Wow. So, speaking of Costco, they said there were furious MAGA voters at Costco. One woman who found out that she had no funds on her EBT card and didn't understand why, that she was standing there in her MAGA shirt and she has a MAGA sweatshirt on and was jumping up and down, screaming at everyone because there was nothing on her card when she went to swipe. And this particular person said that when he walked past, he had to remind her, you voted for this. Wow. There's a MAGA mom on Snap whose family is refusing to help her pay for groceries because of the way she voted. Wow. Wow. So, excuse me. She says, I'm so anxious about this whole shutdown. My husband is a veteran using his GI Bill for school, which that's affected when we get food stamps since I'm disabled and he's in school. We have 2 kids. One is 2, and we're waiting to get her tested for autism. She's a picky eater. I've tried other foods, but in the end, I give up because I don't want any more screaming. My 6-month-old is starting purees. Yes, we get WIC, but still. I don't know how we're going to pay rent, let alone our other bills and get food. I do cook everything from scratch and I've been adding rice, beans, or noodles to stretch it out. I'm just at my wit's end and I'm overwhelmed. Plus, we're almost out of formula. He asked his mother to buy a can until our WIC comes in. Her response was, "We voted for this." Wow. You know what? You don't want to hear people being hungry. You don't want to hear people being hungry with their kids. But you know what? This stuff has to finally hit home for people because we normal people, we understood what the risks were. We didn't think it was going to get this, bad. But again, this is not the first time that he's been in office and there's been a federal shutdown. So what do you want? Wow. Okay. Woo! I got to read this one. So they say this MAGA voter is finally understanding the just get a job argument always doesn't work. Wow. I voted for Trump and 100% believed what he was doing. But at the same time, I keep reading people saying if you're on SNAP for more than a year, you need to get a job. I agree, but I've been trying to find a simple fast food job here. Keep in mind, I don't have a car, so I'm willing to walk an hour to Walmart. I have once, and I thought I was going to pass out when I got there. But with that said, I've tried Arby's, Sonic, Church's Chicken, and Taco Bueno. My work background is only general labor. If anyone can help me fake a resume to get one of these jobs, I would be very grateful. What happened? Your man can't get your job? Your Trump man can't get your job? Wow. Alrighty. So there's a MAGA voter who lost $50 in food stamps, but still blames the Democrats. I lost my $50 in food stamps and I voted for Trump. I also know the Democrats are causing the problem. Amazing. Okay. And there's a MAGA wife and mom whose husband just got laid off. She says, I am not spam, not paying for free speech. I'm correct, just not politically correct. Wife, mom, grandma, cowgirl, patriot, army brat. Yeah, we're there. My husband is retired and I just got laid off. No benefits or snaps for us. Wow. Wow. So here's what someone said, and I'll see what you all are saying. It says, I have zero sympathy for people who knowingly set their own house on fire and then complain about being homeless. Wow. 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 All right, let's see what's going on in the chat room. We have a check-in from Miss Charlene. Hey, Miss Charlene, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We got a check-in from, who else in here? Teresa. Hey, Teresa, good morning. Tamika says, oh, Jatro is another one of those stores. Okay, thank you. All right, Anika says, I watched to see how stores stock their cold items. Some leave it sitting around, and I found that's how they are spoiled because the expiration date. Yeah. Although the expiration date may be far, you can't keep milk in a warm environment. That like defeats the purpose. Tamika says, love funnel cakes, but it must have strawberries. Okay. Shantice does not care. As long as it's got the powder, she good. All righty. Terrence says, good thing I shop at BJ's. I'm with you, Terrence. All right. And Katie says, Costco needs to close down before someone sues them. Absolutely. She says lawn furniture might be spoiled too. All right, there, Kenny. All right. Search says about our McDonald's story. Wow, throwing a coffee at someone is an assault. Yeah, at 180, 190 degrees, Serge. Yeah. Terrence says it's only an assault because of who was throwing it and on who we know. I think it's also an assault because we've got an issue of this being 180 and 190 degrees. That's a lot. That's hot. That's hot. All righty, let's talk to our due time crew. All righty. Brother Alan's in the house this morning. Oh, okay. Let's say good morning to our lady Tamika.
Good morning. Monday morning. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
Good. Haven't heard that in a while.
Because I haven't been able to do it.
Yeah.
It's still a little strained, but I'm still working with it.
Amen. All right, girl. We're going straight to the MAGA supporters, and now they need SNAP benefits that aren't coming through. What do you think about some of the people who have gone viral, complaining about their lack of SNAP benefits?
I just don't understand how they're still so disillusioned. Like, you're still walking with rose-colored glasses. You're willing to blame everybody else except who the actual perpetrator is, and just like we were talking about, I was thinking about, when we had issues in our own neighborhood, we burning down, we going into a store, we looting, we breaking our own neighborhood down. So now we don't have a corner store. We don't have a place where we can buy jewelry or, whatever. You're doing the same thing.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you did it. And now it's, oh, woo-hoo, woe is me, and not that I'm not understanding their plight, that now you can't provide for your household, but you push the button. And now after everything's moving, now you go, wait, I don't get it.
It's interesting that there are some MAGA supporters who have family who will not support them even in their time of need because of who they voted for. There were 2 people on that list who said that when they asked, somebody said they went to their family for a can of formula for the baby until their WIC check came through. And they were like, no, you voted for this. Are we going that far though?
Well, apparently they are. You asking for help. Can you loan me $20 till I get my check next week? It's crazy that you should have to do that. And I remember, even prior to this last election, before, people there was a great divide. People didn't. People broke friendships and alliances and families, and I'm not surprised, that it's getting this far.
Yeah. Anytime you will tell someone who needs a can of baby formula, I can't help you because you voted for this. People are mad and people want to, exact their level of revenge. Wow. Where's your brother Al at? But we do have the Grim Reaper here. But before we got the Grim Reaper. What is happening? Pastor Kale, we will give you some more attention. Is that what's happening?
Girl, it is freezing in Alabama, okay? I don't care how I look. I'm going to stay warm. It's 30 degrees in Alabama. That is below 0 in New York. Leave me alone.
Wow. Is it that cold? What is the weather here? Hold on. Let me see. Let me see what we got here. We're at 54 degrees. Wow.
God bless. God bless you.
Wow.
You're lucky you can see my face. I was gonna put on one of them masks.
Well, we wouldn't have been able to put you on camera because we wouldn't have been able to identify because we do voice and facial recognition before we put you
Okay.
on.
It's
So,
me.
all righty. Now we see. Good morning.
Good morning. God bless you.
All right. We got the MAGA supporters who are now without their SNAP benefits, and they have literally gone viral with their complaints. And we've got one person who's even said, or two people that have said they need help, but their family members won't even help them because they voted for this. What say you?
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm kind of in agreement. If you voted for that, then hey, you get all the benefits. These are the benefits you wanted. You get all the benefits. The good, bad, and now you're dealing with the ugly. There was never any good. There was always bad and ugly. Why you couldn't see it, that's on you. And then you're probably the one who, as I was talking about last week, they got them 14 kids. Why would you vote for that?
Wow. Yeah, well, they felt for the okie doke. That's for sure. And now the okie doke is smacking them in the face. Wow. I wanted to ask you something, but I want to give Brother Al a chance to talk for a second. And then I'm coming back to you for a view that you can give that others can't. So we'll be back. Good morning, Brother Al.
Chop of the morning, chop of the morning.
How's
Good morning,
your hand?
Good morning, grand people. How you doing?
How's your hand, Brother Al?
Huh?
Your hand.
Oh, it's getting there. See, it's still a little swollen, but it's getting to see my pinky still a little swollen. But it's getting there. It's still fractured, but it's healing. So it's a good thing.
Okay. And I have to tell you that I did listen to your sermon yesterday, your sermonette. It was very good. Very good. Job well done.
Praise God. Thank you.
Job well done. I missed Lady Tamika a few weeks ago, so I'm gonna have to catch her on the rebound. But Pastor KL said she was fantastic, so I missed that one. Brother Al, MAGA supporters are complaining that they don't have SNAP benefits and their families have no sympathy. What say you?
I have no sympathy either. This is what you voted for. You got what you wanted. You voted. You was very adamant about, put him in. We want him. He gonna do this. He gonna do that. Yeah, he done it all right.
All righty, boy. It's really bad when your stuff comes back to smack you in the face, and they really thought that they were going to be untouchable. Pastor KL, you have the ability to see on a large scale what it looks like with the SNAP drought. From your view, what does it look like?
It looks like a ghost town. It's quiet. You ain't got no ratchet children, no ratchet people. So on one side it's beautiful because you're on vacation, but on the other side, you ain't making no money. And what it does is that it hurts the workers, the employees. It doesn't necessarily hurt me because I'm what they call salary. But when you're not bringing in the money, you can't pay payroll. So your workers have to now go home or has to get laid off. And the bad part of it is not their fault. They had nothing to do with it. It's not their fault. That food stamps is paying their payroll.
Yeah, it just, unfortunately, it hits in areas where we really don't think about. And we talked about the employees last week. We talked about them briefly. So prayers up to everybody who is being affected, even if you don't receive SNAP benefits yourself, how this is affecting other people And the industry is something we need to keep lifted up before the Lord.
And you know what else, Pastor Steph, from this side, you have to look at it also that a lot of companies, especially supermarkets, who know they're not going to be getting the food stamps, they're raising the prices to compensate of the loss.
Ouch. Ouch. Didn't even think about that. Wow. Oh boy. Everybody's getting hit. Getting hit. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I got some relationship dilemmas today, and a couple of interesting ones. So, the first one I want to talk about is there's a woman who is 34 years old. She has dated a guy for 10 years. She said it's a decade of dating. And he just up and walked off. He's 38 years old. She's 34. She says, here I am at 34, eggs twitching, ready for the marriage and parenthood stage of life, but unexpectedly single and emotionally devastated. She says, I'm tipping into the furious phase of the grief cycle because I feel as though he owes me big time and I want him to pay. She says that she's made some career sacrifices to accommodate her ex's ambitions. She said they verbally agreed that he would be the primary earner should they have children. She says he just up and walked off from the relationship. She says that he says, I'm trying to find his quote, but she says that he wants to pretty much live his life. He knows where she is in her, what phase of life she's in, but he feels that this is a time where he wants to enjoy his lifestyle, and he's powering forward with his career, and he's not ready for marriage and children. He knows what the priority is for her, but he apologizes. He does love her, but he's out. She says, now I feel like these compromises have left me vulnerable and I'm seeking compensation. Surely he should have some responsibility for helping me mitigate the damage to our plans caused by his change of heart and broken promises. And what do you think? Let's start with you, Brother Al.
Well, this is clearly a person who don't have the Lord in their life or know the Lord, because the Lord take people out of our lives for a reason. And we mess up because the Lord is pulling them that way. And we hold on to the other end of the rope, pulling them back. So that's clearly a sign that this man is not the one for you. And you're being blessed and don't even know it. That he's taking them, the Lord is taking them away. And you still sitting there trying to pull them back, and now you're going into this depressed. Now you're letting the enemy get in, they put you in depression and all this crazy. So this is clearly a person who don't know the Lord.
All righty. Tamika, she wants him to pay for IVF or freezing her eggs because she has held out all this time and he knew what she wanted.
Right. So there's no guarantee in relationships. And I understand that you've been doing it 10 years, but that's what she wants, and it's obvious that he was comfortable for the 10 years. You didn't push. You probably didn't push hard enough, verbalize how you felt, and now you're stuck, she, in her mind, you know, we as women, we have that whole idea. We're going to get married, we're going to have children, blah, 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 you know, and as long as they were together, you know, and everything was good, but now she wants to get married, and now she wants, you know, so now he's like, okay, I'm out because I don't want to do that. You know, unfortunately, in that time frame, the representative was forward, and now that she's verbalizing, okay, I want to get married, I want to have children, blah, 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 you know, he's out. You know, my comfortable place is now stressing me, and I just, you know, it's not you, it's me. I think now is the time I want to do me.
Okay. Pastor KL.
Well, I mean, I see it a little different. I see that, you know, he was upfront. He said what he had to say. You know, it was a good ride. We were doing this well, and you kept on pressuring me to do something. I don't want kids right now. You know, I don't even want to get married right now. I love you. I want to be with you. If you can just stop pressing me with this, then we can be okay. You know, and from the other side, listen, your eggs are frozen. You can defrost them for somebody else. You didn't lose. You still got some good eggs.
Alrighty. So I'll weigh in. My feeling is 10 years. You spent 10 whole years with someone. You should have understood the risk you were taking. Who puts in 10 years and then gets mad? You listen, this man ain't nowhere in the world you gonna tell me while you were saying, we're gonna have kids and we're gonna get married. He was sitting there going, nah. There was somewhere along this line of these 10 years, even if it was in the 9th year, that he indicated he may have talked about, yes, you know, I would like to have kids one day. Yes, I would like to get married one day. But one day, at some point, and he's at the point in his life he does not want to. So guess what? You take the loss. If you had paid a little more attention, or maybe by the 5th year, you should have made up in your mind, hey, I'm not doing this. If we have not made, you should have given yourself a benchmark. And when it didn't go past a certain amount of time, then move on. And I agree with Brother Al. You know what? He's not the one. All right, so he's not the one. You weren't 10. You weren't 20. You started at 28 with this man, and it was young enough to be able to, you know, start a family within 10 years. But at the 10-year mark, you didn't pay attention, but he did. And I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad that he said, I want to go about my business because I want to have, I'm not ready for marriage. Wouldn't you rather that than him bone up and don't, when you mad? And like Al said, God is moving people out your life. If he doesn't want, don't be looking for no money. You don't deserve any money. I'm sorry. Those are relationship woes. You win some, you lose some. So I don't think he did anything wrong. I think women just have a bad habit of pressing and putting all their eggs in one basket. And then when it doesn't happen, you get upset. Does that happen more in your opinion, Tamika, as a woman?
Yeah, you know, in the dating scheme, a lot, you know, and we have to be careful of how we view things, you know, like you said, you know, oh, I want to get married, I want to have children, blah, blah. And of course he's agreeing because yes, you want to have married, you want to get married, you want to have children. In our mindset, a lot of times with women, you know, from childhood, from, you know, we playing with dolls. The first thing we start visualizing is husband and wife. You got Ken and Barbie or whatever dolls you play. That's one of the things. And as you get older, you carry that on. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this person that you're dating is going to be a husband, is going to be the father of your child. And sometimes we go for whatever little piece of that puzzle that we visualize in our mind. Now we stuck with a child and a baby daddy that we can't stand.
Right. You know what else I paid attention to? Due Time Crew. She said she made sacrifices for this relationship. How you make sacrifices for somebody else and he ain't your husband? You made that level of commitment. He wasn't your husband. You hear people do that after marriage. And then you're going to be mad because he said that he was going to watch the kids? Oh, yeah, that wasn't wise at all. You took a leap of faith and you failed. All right, what's going on in this chat room? Oh, Katie said SNAP benefits went out yesterday. All right, amen. Amen. Shanti said, in your 20s, you gave up all of that for someone who was just your boyfriend. Wasn't wise. Absolutely, Shanti. That was not a wise situation at all.
Hey, Pastor Steph, she didn't put her eggs all in one basket. She put her eggs in the freezer.
Or she's about to. You're right, Al. She's about to. All righty. Here's another one that I found was very interesting. All right. So there's a man who broke up with a woman quite some time ago. She cheated on him. She cheated on him. He moved on. He left the country for work. He met a woman who is now his wife, and they have a 3-year-old child. He has been receiving calls recently and texts from his ex's parents. Now, I believe this was about 10 years ago. I'll find out as I go in this. He said they told him that their daughter was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and she'd like to see him just one more time. They also said that when she cheated on him, they thought it was the biggest mistake of her life. And they said that she had not had a serious relationship. Oh, it's been 6 years since they broke up, and she had done that. So she cheated with her ex. And that's when he left her and he moved on. So he says, I don't want to see her. They keep calling. He hasn't told them that he does not want to see her. He says, I really don't care about her. He says, I'm not mad at her anymore, but I don't want to open up that part of my life anymore. He says, but he did tell them, please do not contact him anymore. So they went on to say that he was cruel and heartless. This is the end of her life. And it was a 6-year relationship. And what would be the harm? He said that's not the biggest problem. He said not only is he receiving that from his ex's parents, but his friends. He has some friends that are like, listen, what would it hurt for you to just go see her? You know you're not starting a relationship with her. You know that there's nothing that's going to happen. It's not like other people who, you go see them and then before you know it, you start off a new relationship. That's not going to happen. He said, and he's mad because he feels like he's getting pressure from the friends as well. Lady Tamika, should he feel bad for not wanting to go see her?
People crack me up when they get into situations like that, and they usurp or they put their opinion. I was in a relationship with this individual. Our relationship was over due to no fault of my own. And in his situation, she cheated on him. There may be residual emotions from that. Fine. Oh, okay. It took me a while to heal. I'm in a new relationship. I got a baby. Life is doing well. Why open up a new can of worms? I don't care if you are her parents. I don't care if you are her friends. I have a right to how I feel. And if I choose not to, then so be it. It just is what it is, And I mean, I understand that people are saying, oh, what was her? But she's the one that cheated, and now I'm supposed to backtrack and, make nice because of her, because she's leaving this world. I'm sorry. I don't have compassion in this case.
All righty. Brother Al.
Yes. He has the right to feel how he feel. I would tell everybody, get out my face. This is what I'm feeling. Respect how I feel. If y'all so concerned, y'all go see her. Tell her I said hi. He got the right to, he got the right to feel how he feels. And everybody trying to pressure him, like, hey, listen, this is how I feel. That's it. I'm sorry she died, whatever. I pray for her, but leave me be.
Okay. Pastor KL.
You mean Grim Reaper?
Watch your mouth. You ain't preached that good yesterday, sir. Watch your mouth. Well, I mean, while I also feel that he has the right to feel the way he feels, I think looking from the other side of it, you have a right to also give her the opportunity to apologize, to repent. If she's going through her dying time, she's trying to clear up loose ends. And you're not gonna get into a relationship with her, she about to die. You're not gonna sleep with her, she about to die. All these things is not gonna happen because she's about to die. So what is it gonna hurt you to go there and hear her out?
Okay. I feel kind of in the middle here. I feel that, it's a part of his life that he has put behind him. He claims he's not mad, but he just does not want to revisit this part of his life. But another part of me feels like if you're not mad, then could you go see her? As Pastor KL said, is it because she never apologized and here's her opportunity and she wants to do it? So I'm not mad at him if he does, and I'm not mad at him if he doesn't. I think we need to look at this from a side of what if it were you? I think that's where my head ultimately goes. Am I at a point where I lived my life, I did the things that I did, and I took life's time for granted, and now I got a rude awakening that I can't fix things. My time for fixing things are limited. And does that make us, now understand that, again, tomorrow's not promised to any of us. And we do take life for granted. We take time for granted. And like I said, I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I'm not mad at him either way. I understand what God puts on my heart to do, might be very different. But I think we need to think of it also as if it were me, what would I, really like for someone to do for me? Did she never apologize? He never said that. He never said it that she did. He never said that she didn't. He just said that he found out, he moved on, left the country, blah, 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 blah. Is the new wife weighing in on this? That's another thought that crossed my mind. I know why. What's the point of you going back if you ain't got nothing to do? Because we know women. We know women too. Can get real funny about some things, and he may consider it, but she might be fighting him on it. What do you think, Brother Al, about that concept of the possibility that the wife could be, the new wife, the wife could be just kind of in his ear?
Yeah, that could be a possibility too. Like, hey, that's your past. What you be visiting your past for? You know, so that could be it too.
Yeah. She died anyway.
Yeah. You know, they get cruel. And sometimes when people hear ex, boy, they get cruel.
Yeah.
But you still like her? You still trying to hook up with her?
Yeah.
She's dying. I'm not trying to hook up. Yeah.
Would you feel you owe her something? You know, you could that could be Would you feel you owe her something? Listen, she did you wrong. Why you got to worry about what she doing? Let her. She listen. She let her take that to her grave. Yeah, you definitely get a lot of variables when other people are involved with your life.
The other thing that I thought about is, what if what she says has a lasting impression on me? You know, meaning, the guy. So what if what she says, now I gotta stay with this stuff that she tells me, and I can't give it to anybody because she's leaving. So I don't want to hear it because I'm good where I am. That was the thing that I thought.
Yeah.
And I thought about like what Pastor KL said. Maybe like now she didn't set the guard in her life, and she trying to clear some things. Like, okay, let me apologize, and I feel better that I apologize, and I'm good now. I done cleared up everything I done done in my life. So that could have been the situation. But.
Yeah, and that's what makes me think. What if it were me? Have we all done something in our life that if we had that one opportunity to go backwards? I've told this story on here before of someone who was really mean, did something really cruel to me. And by virtue of just the time of our life, we just didn't see one another. And a couple of times I mistakenly ran into him, and I would just happen to be in the neighborhood, and and it's like I would look and I'd see him, and then when I'd be like, wait a minute, that's so-and-so, he would be gone. When I tell you, it was like you wouldn't even see the smoke. Gone. And this happened 3 times. 3 times it happened. And in my head, I was like, wow, there was 2 of them. I never saw the other person. And I went to I think it was like 28 years, high school reunion. And we were there, and lo and behold, it was a 3-day event. And the Saturday, it started Friday. The Saturday I saw him, and somebody said, do you remember KL, Steph? Do you remember KL, Steph? And I was like, oh yeah, I remember KL, but does KL remember Stephanie? So he, just said something real passing to me, but I didn't talk. I didn't bring it up. I didn't pull him to the side, no nothing. The next day, we were all sitting down eating, and he actually came over to me. And he said, Steph, I want to apologize. He says, I was a stupid kid. I was doing stupid things. He said, and I feel horrible about what I did. And I really want to ask you to forgive me. And I was like so stuck, because like I said, it was 3 times that I had seen him, but it was gone. And the time was gone. I turned around, he was gone. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? Of course. Because it took a lot for you to even come over here and apologize. That there, it was almost 30 years. 30 years. 30 years. So that's why I said, you know what? If we put ourselves in that, predicament, if we had another chance, would we, get it out and say we're sorry? And all we need is the opportunity. And he had 3 opportunities that passed him by. And he opted not to say anything. And again, I never approached him. I know who knew him. I knew because it was twice that I saw him with the common denominator. And I was like, so-and-so, but I'm saying that to myself. I never even said it to the person. So I think about that all the time. That has always stuck with me. And I said, you know what, God, I give God thanks. Because can you imagine what that must have been like holding it for 30 years? 30 years. And all I could do was say, absolutely, because I wouldn't imagine 30 years somebody go, hell no, I'm not apologizing. No, you remember what you did? I couldn't even imagine, doing that. But 30 years, God gave that opportunity, and he took it. He took the opportunity. So I think a lot of times if we think about if it were us, I could have died, he could have died, it would have never been an opportunity, but God made sure that there was. And, I think a lot of times if we put ourselves in other people's shoes, that might be, just the thing that makes the difference as to, if we would do things differently. I hope that story helps somebody. So if you have somebody who you have not apologized to, make sure you get it done. God gives you breath for today. Make sure you get it done. All right. Here's an interesting. Yes.
Steph,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I said, I'm sorry. You said apologize.
Yes, Pastor Steph, you need to apologize to me right now while we got the opportunity. Apologize to me right now while we got the opportunity.
I'm not accepting your apology because you've been on here with me for almost 5 years and you waited those 5 years. You didn't say a word. Now, if I ain't apologized yet, I'm not apologizing now.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Oh my goodness. All right, here's an interesting one. Friendship. So they have a group of friends that got together and someone overdrank. And this is a couple and they have, some mutual friends. And the boyfriend went to bed, but the rest of them were up chilling, having fun. And one of the friends looked over and said, Brother Al is peeing on your bed. No, so-and-so Dylan is having an accident. So they that was on the couch. So they got him to the bathroom and they left him in the bathroom. They got some towels. They tried to do whatever they needed to do to the couch. And they noticed that Dylan hadn't come out the bathroom. When they woke up, Dylan was in the bed, sleeping next to the boyfriend. So Dylan had messed up the couch. Now, because Dylan had gone to bed, Dylan had messed up the bed. So they woke the boyfriend up, got him out of the bed. They ended up washing all the stuff, and they slept on the floor that night. So the next morning they got up, they said the place was horribly smelling. So they talked to a roommate, the roommate of Dylan. And I don't know how they got back and forth to texting, but they did. So the girl at whose house they were at, he said to the friend, hey, his name is Jake. She said, Jake, I'm glad you helped us, try to, clean up the mess, but our place is smelling terribly, and we need to fix this. And she said, I went out and I got a steamer and a cleaner, and it cost me $150. So we both feel that Dylan should cover the cost. Now, they couldn't get to Dylan, which is why they got to Jake, the roommate. So Jake finally responded, and he says, 8 hours later at 10 p.m., I'm replying to your text, and I don't know if it's fair for Dylan to pay $150. Can he give you at least half of that? Would that be cool? And because we could have used your carpet cleaner, your upholstery cleaner. So she said no, that it was much more than this. Their own cleaner could have done. They wouldn't have spent $150 if they didn't have to. So he writes back, whatever, dude, if that's how you feel, take your money. And then he Venmoed the $150. He says, well, I got some sweats from, that I borrowed from you. You want me to bring that back too? I'll just leave that on your porch. And he got angry because they wanted Dylan to pay for this cleaning. Now, why they never got to Dylan, I don't know. But now the Jake and her friendship and the boyfriend's friendship is no longer the same. And she's upset because it's like, why are you upset that we just were trying to get to you to get to Dylan because we couldn't get to him. So we were just passing this, well, why are you taking this so personally? So now they don't speak anymore. Them and Jake. Pastor KL, what should they do about the relationship with Jake? They really hate that they no longer have a relationship with Jake.
I mean, listen, that's how you feel. If you connected to the PP boy, then y'all stay there together. No. If you destroy my house, you need to compensate me. If you can listen, if you okay with urine smelling your house because that's your best friend, and you want to go half, I didn't half pee. It wasn't your half pee and my half pee. It was your whole bladder. So you gonna pay for the whole thing. If you don't understand that, you're home in your fresh Febreze house. I'm always over here in the PP house. No, I need you to pay for this. I'm sorry.
All right, Tamika, what say you? They're really upset that this relationship with Jake is no longer existing because he's mad now.
Listen here, Jake from State Farm. I can't help that, we got this situation with the water whelps all over my house, on the couch, on the bed. Like, something wrong with you. Your bladder is all over my house. And if anybody knows anything about human urine, I remember living in this house, and when we used to go outside, for some reason, there was a man who used to pee on the side of the car. And like, when you go outside, it's fresh urine, and that stuff, that's outside. You're talking about in my home, on my couch, on my bed. The place where oh my gosh. And then you can't pay a measly $150. You whining about $150, then, you can't be my friend. And I can't really say that I care again.
Brother Al.
Oh yeah. So it already tells me what side of the fence that this is on. It already told me what side of the fence that this is on. Because if it was on our side, it'd be a totally different story. But and you need to stop drinking. You do drinking and you can't even hold your urine as a grown man. And you need to put that stuff down. You know what I'm saying? And because again, if that was on our side of the fence, it'd be like, oh, you want to play the PP game? Where Dylan live at? Where he live at? Where he live at? I'm gonna go pay Dylan a visit since you want to play rough. You want to play rough? Okay. but yeah, no, you ain't my friend. But you should have volunteered to pay for this. Not only did you then pee through my house, you didn't borrow some of my sweatpants. No, I don't want you to bring it back. What's wrong with you? Yeah, boy, I tell you, the other side of the fence is crazy.
Well, here's my dilemma. Because I always say these relationship dilemmas, are they really dilemmas? Because it's cut and dry to Stephanie. Now, here's my question. I called Tamika. I knew Terrence was coming. I'm surprised. I was like, Terrence must be working because Terrence didn't hit that. I know what side of the fence he's on. So Terrence says, and that's not his first time doing it wet in the bed. They know.
And why couldn't you? Okay, so you better be glad I'm not asking you to replace my bed, replace my couch. $150, and you whining about $150? Mm-hmm. Okay, all right.
And that's what she was saying. She was like, it's $150. It could have been worse. She said, because if we really want to go like you said, the direction that we could go, it would cost you a lot more than $150. But here's my thing. Al wet the bed.
Why you gotta put me in your nonsense?
Apologize. Apologize now. Apologize.
Why you gotta put me in your nonsense?
Cause Tamika ain't gonna wet the bed.
Look, why you can't use Terrence or one of them? Why you gotta put me in your nonsense?
Now we're gonna have a comeback from Terrence. You know it's coming.
All right. Okay, you know what? Let me put it out there. The reason why Pastor KL apologized because it was him.
KL, pay the 150. Pay the 150, KL. Well, KL,
let me make a PSA. This will be my last show. This will be my last show.
Yeah, with that hoodie because he's embarrassed. He's ashamed.
My stomach hurts. Okay. All right.
This is supposed to be gospel. This is supposed to be gospel friendly. This is not gospel friendly. This is not a godly conversation. Now we're peeing in the bed in the name of Jesus. What's the problem here?
Yeah, you didn't pee in the bed. You anointed the bed.
So Brother Al had the accident.
There you go.
And I called Tamika because I've been trying to reach Brother Al and he's not answering. Well, we know why he's not answering. So Tamika now gets an attitude because I'm asking for Al to pay the $150, and Tamika was like, well, he can't just pay half. Well, like Pastor KL said, no, what do you mean half? I don't have a half a problem. Half in the bathroom, half in the living room, and half in the bedroom. Those are the only halves. So now why is Tamika twisted? See, that's the problem that I'm having.
Well, Tamika is twisted because now she got to admit that her husband's the pee-pee boy, and she's embarrassed.
Well, they're not married. We're all just friends. So why is Tamika getting mad? So that's the problem that I'm having with the story. That's the dilemma. Why are you getting mad? Why are you even saying, well, here, I'll Venmo you the $150? Well, why? Why? What this got to do with you? I'm only asking you, can you pass the message? So how are you so vested in this? I don't understand. So maybe that's the only dilemma that I have. What'd you say, Al?
Maybe she in love with Dylan, and she mad that you come down.
It's two guys. Two guys.
Oh.
Dylan and Jake are roommates. They're males. They're not. She didn't say that they were in a relationship level. They're just roommates. Her and her boyfriend live together. So my thing is, that's the only dilemma that I have. Why in the world are you so upset at this? All I did was ask you to pass the message. I asked you how much you feel he should pay and all of that. No, you got this messed up right now. So that's the dilemma. Not whether he should pay or not. Because I think, like Tamika said, you got off light. Because I couldn't really ask you to just replace my whole bed. Because flipping my bed and vacuuming and cleaning up, no, I'm not doing all of that. Because I got to sleep here again? No. Because I've seen where it's gone through the mattress to the box spring. So yeah, I've seen accidents where somebody said, well, look, Steph, they didn't went all the way to the box spring. So I'm sorry. What you say?
That's a lot of peeing.
Yeah.
Or thin mattress.
Right. right, or cheap mattress. So I'm like, no, you doing too much, as they say. You way out there for no reason. Stop. Just stop. So Terry says he's cold. He had to warm up somehow. Yeah, that's how he ended up in the bed with the boyfriend. Cause you drunk. That's all of that. This is way too much. Way too much. All right, let's sign up out of here. What are we saying in regards to everything put together about these relationships? Brother Al, what say you?
Man, put God in your life and he'll direct you. All the people going through this craziness, they ain't got love. This is why we need Jesus, people.
All righty. What say you? Tamika.
Utilize God's authenticity and integrity, and He will guide you on how to respond, how to act, how to react. Because when He leads you, then you've always done the right thing.
All righty. Terrence says that he's cold. He had to warm up somehow. Was a snap toward Pastor KL. All righty. Pastor KL, how are we closing up out of here today?
Well, there's a thing that women say they have that's called intuition. Well, there's a thing that God gives you that's called discernment. If you use God's discernment, you will know in the beginning what kind of relationship you're in, whether it's a love relationship, whether it's a friendship relationship. Let God, use the discernment, because you can get out of a lot of things before you even get in it. If you just follow God, God will show you the signs. You won't have to worry about, as I would say, the red flags, because God would have already shown you the signs of whether it's a deal or no deal.
All righty. Thank you, my due time crew, for your contribution into today's conversation, and we pray you have a blessed day.
Have a blessed
You as well.
Good day.
Thank you. It's the top of the hour, and you know what Pastor Steph calls the top of the hour on a Monday morning. It is time for the switch with Shantice. Let's say good morning to Shantice. Good morning, Shantice.
Good morning. How are you, Pastor Steph?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. What you got for us today?
Today, I have the switch with Shantice, where we make the switch from the streets to our godly seat, and we are up to switch tip 233 for this week, which is stop committing to the uncommitted. Now, when we commit to God, we are deciding to go His way. When we commit to other people, we are deciding to go our way. And one of the stories that Pastor Steph went over with the Due Time crew, with the young lady who figured, I'm going to sacrifice this for my relationship, and I'm going to deny myself of pursuing this so that I can support him. Was that really God's way? And a lot of times we don't take the accountability because we're thinking, well, I did this for him, I did this for her, but really you did it for yourself. Because is that something that God told you to do? Or is it something that you wanted to do? So understanding that we can either choose God's way or we can choose our way, and not being salty when God shows us the result of who and what we're ultimately committing to. Now, of course, we're going to have to really, really quick dive into these definitions, right? So when you look up commitment, it's a pledge or obligation to do something, a state of being dedicated to a cause. When you look up the biblical definition of commitment, it gets a lot more detailed. A steadfast, wholehearted dedication to God and His will, which involves faithfulness, it involves loyalty, and a willingness to endure challenges. And that latter part is what really caught my attention, because God has been on me for a few years now about endurance, which means suffering. And all throughout the Bible, especially in the New Testament, we read what God says and how He feels about us willingly choosing to dedicate ourselves to Jesus, which means we have to be willing to take on that suffering. Why? Because Jesus took on all of that suffering for us. So in order to call ourselves authentic and genuine in Him, wouldn't we now have to suffer for him, which when compared is no comparison to all the suffering that he did in the flesh, mentally, emotionally, also that we can have a true chance at inheriting the kingdom, right? So when you think about stop committing to the uncommitted, and that story was a prime example. So this young woman was committed to one idea for life, and her boyfriend was committed to another idea. So now let's bring it into context of what God really wants us to focus on. Those of us who God has chosen and has called into a life of him, for him, through him, with him, by him, right? And we say, yes, God, to that will, to your will for my life. And then we meet people, whether it's friendships, whether it's an intimate relationship, of course, if it's an intimate relationship. How are we now promising to be obligated to that person, and they're not saying yes to God as well? When you think back to your mentality before saying yes to God, you see that they are completely contrary to each other. Okay, and the first verse that came to mind was, do not be unequally yoked. 2 Corinthians 6:14, I'm gonna read it in the Message version. Don't become partners with those who reject God. How can you make a partnership out of right and wrong? That's not a partnership, that's war. It's like best friends with dark. And I love the way this version is worded, because a lot of men are thinking that I'm cuckoo, that I'm crazy, that I'm dragging it, because it's like, oh, well, why aren't you with someone? Or why aren't you with me? And I'm like, sir, because I know I'm not perfect, you don't want me without Jesus, as Elder Natisha said, okay? I don't want you without Jesus. You know how people say, oh, you don't really know someone until they get mad? Nah. You don't really know someone until God starts dealing with them. Because everything is cute, everything is laughs, and let's go out and eat, and let's go to the movies, and let's chill here, and let's get a few drinks, and let's do all of this, right? Let's walk to the corner store together, all of that. Until God starts dealing with them. Watch how the real them starts surfacing. Goodness gracious. That's war. Because now I'm already fighting with myself half the time. I don't need you to help me fight with myself to go with God's will for my life. So now I have you on the other end, challenging everything I say and do, questioning everything I say and do, not respecting everything I say and do, all because it's not within how you want to live. That's not partnership. So whether you're talking about a business relationship, an intimate relationship, a friendship, however, if I decide to bond myself with you, commit myself to you, and I'm pursuing God and you're pursuing your flesh and the world and the devil, because that's ultimately who you're pursuing. There's no in between, either pursuing God or the devil. We're always going to be fighting. And I remember saying to God, like, oh, you know, things between me and so was cool. And he's like, okay, I need you to say this to me. I'm like, well, there go the relationship. That's it. Whatever the relationship was, there go. Because again, once God starts dealing with them, the real them is going to surface. Who are you going to be ultimately obligated to? Matthew 6:24 Amplified Version reads, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. In other words, you cannot serve God and money. You cannot serve God and possessions, fame, status, or whatever is valued more than the Lord. So what is God ultimately saying here? Stop trying to fool yourself. You ain't tricking him. You ain't tricking yourself. You ain't tricking nobody, okay? The second you think you can now bind and bond yourself to someone who is straight out rejecting God, you are going to choose to be committed to that person, not God. It said it right here. Okay? You can't love God and love someone who says, I'm good off of God. Because God tells us, and it's a harsh wake-up call. He says, you don't love me, you're not following me, you hate me. So how you all about God, but now you all for someone who hates God? Never gonna work. Proverbs 13:20 Amplified Version, he who walks as a companion with wise men will be wise, amen. But the companions of conceited, dull-witted fools are fools themselves and will experience harm. And I've experienced that. A lot of mental, emotional, some physical, and definitely spiritual harm whenever I decided to link and bond myself with someone who kept saying, I'm good off God. I don't need God. I don't need God. And again, that fighting, that war will already cause you a lot of mental harm. Okay, because when you contemplating on how hard you can throw a brick at somebody's face, see, already it's just too much hostility going on. Now, as they say in the streets, when you say something and it be hitting, it be like that part. This is how I feel about this verse. 1 Peter 4:4 Amplified Version reads, in connection with all this, they, the unbelievers, are resentful and surprised that you do not think like them, value their values, and run hand in hand with them into the same excesses of dissipation and immoral freedom. And they criticize and abuse and ridicule you and make fun of your values in the name of Jesus. That part. So when you decide to commit yourself to the people who are uncommitted, not committed to God, you are subjecting yourself. You are willingly walking into this. You are walking into the war where all they sit and do is criticize, abuse, ridicule, and make fun of you because they are mad, especially people who knew you when. I cannot begin to tell y'all, people who knew me before I said, yes, Lord, how upset they were when I no longer was drinking, partying, sexing, running the streets, all of that. I had someone say to me the other day, I miss the old Shanties. I miss the Shanties who used to do this. And they weren't saying anything really crazy, but they were saying things I don't do anymore. And I don't do those things anymore because of God. I don't give myself that credit because I was fine with all of the immoral freedom. Okay, it was very comfortable and very enjoyable. All right, so we have to make a conscious decision of making a switch from committing ourselves to the uncommitted, to making sure we commit ourselves to God, being willing to endure whatever it is God is saying we have to endure for his name's sake. And just like Pastor Steph's favorite verse, Matthew 6:33 tells us, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Aim to seek things that are pleasing to him, his attitude, his ways, his morals, his commandments, so on and so forth. And he will bless you with the abundance of what you desire in your heart. Make the switch to be committed to God and not committed to people who say they're good for God. Thank you, Pastor Steph.
You, Shanti, thank you. Thank you for your contribution into today's episode. We pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Ooh, another very practical switch tip. So stop committing to the uncommitted. So let's go back to our relationship dilemmas. We had the first relationship dilemma where the young lady that Shanti cited, the young lady committed to the guy for the 10 years. And, you know, he's not committed. He hasn't been committed in a long time on your level. We had the other relationship dilemma where the guy, had moved on with his life after leaving a cheater, and now she wants to reconnect with him on her deathbed. We then had the last relationship dilemma, and after doing a little more digging, I asked the question, why is he, this Jake, so committed to what Dylan did? Well, they were boyfriend and boyfriend. So now I got why they were committed. They were in a relationship, and based on the fact that you're complaining about my boyfriend, I get offended. Here we talked about commitments to people. And I believe Shantice alluded, if not touched on, just commitment to anything. And I mean anything. Anything that is ungodly. Anything that is not walking where you walk. There's the word went out today of discernment. Watch. Be watchful. Look at where your commitment is and see if it's still worth your commitment. So that could be a job. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be, a place where you shop, where you spend your money. You're loyal to spending your money there because they have the best prices, or they're at the most convenient place, or whatever the situation is, or they have the best perks. Be careful what you commit yourself to, period. Because I gave the story about the two people two guys who had done something to me that was really mean. This is just mean. The person that I knew, I met the person who I actually, it's a weird situation. And I got to say it's about the commitment. Because now it ties it all together for me with Shantice's switch tip. So the individual who came back and apologized, I knew him first. And the other person that was involved, that first person introduced me to that person. But I, just dealt with the second person a little bit more, than the first person who had introduced us. I had more dealings with that person. And maybe what part of that apology was for is because you were committed to that person opposed to me. You introduced me to that person. So on the street, on street terms, you should be more committed to me because you actually introduced me. If it wasn't for that person, who actually ended up, in my opinion, maybe setting the whole thing up, you feel bad because of your level of commitment. So that's why I say you got to be real careful about what you commit to. It's not always who you commit to, but sometimes it's what you commit to. And that might seem a little bit twisted, but if you go back and listen, it'll make sense. I promise you, it'll make sense. We have to be very careful to stay and focus on God, because when we walk through life, we find ourselves in pockets of commitment for any particular reason. Sometimes you think about, like, why did I stay not in that relationship, but even why do I keep going to this place? Or why do I keep, feeding this? Or why do I keep doing that? The level of commitment is amazing. And what you don't want to do is to commit to something that will be damaging or damning to you. And the only way to get that understanding is to seek God. The more and more and more, the more I live, the more I realize that we must seek God for everything. Because the stuff that we commit to, sometimes you go back and you be like, oh my gosh, I'm in this because I felt loyal to this for whatever the reason is. And it doesn't even have to be a big thing. It could be that itty bitty teensy weensy thing. And I have watched so many times the commitment. I see people stay in relationships that they know is no good. One person was complaining to me about somebody, and I said, well, why do you stay with them? If they're that bad, why do you stay with them? Oh, the investment. In other words, the time you've committed to the person. I'm like, for you at your own admittance is saying this is just damning to you. It's horrific. It's the worst experience you ever had. But you're staying here. I look at that so often, and sometimes I even kind of go back in the recesses of my own mind or look at some of the stuff that I do, and I'm like, why, Stephanie? Why? And it's sometimes you do it so subconsciously that you don't even realize it. It's done. Before you realize it, it's done. And you're in this situation for no real reason. So if you seek God, I promise you, if you follow what He gives you to do each and every time, then you'll be surprisingly uncommitted and may find yourself out of bondage. And I'm going to close by even going to the story we talked about today about all of the MAGA supporters. You know, some people just vote Democrat or Republican or whatever because that's what they have committed to. I'm a Democrat and I won't go for the people who, you know, are ripping people off, and, you know, the Republicans are not about the people and the Republicans about the money. But yet, if you have a good, you know, candidate in that party, then what are you going to do? You're going to be married more to what the party is than to what is right and what we need. And that's what happened with these MAGA supporters. They were so committed that they lost sight of who was actually running, the individual. And now that they have committed, now it's coming back to bite them because they weren't even eating. Now, you know, some benefits have been, you know, released, and some benefits still have not been released. And we're praying for, you know, the fact that all of this is, you know, released so that people can simply eat. You're literally understanding now that your commitment to this political party can now literally take the food out of your mouth. Be careful of committing to the uncommitted, because he didn't care anything. Trump didn't care anything about the people who were in that party, but who get SNAP benefits. How many people voted for him who were loyal to him, but everything is about him. So he didn't care that he was closing the government, and all of his people who were voting for him are federal people. Not all, but you get my point. You know, he had federal people who were supporting him, and now they don't have a job. Be careful that you do not stay committed to something or someone who is uncommitted. The only commitment that you need to be making is to God, and he will show you where to place your commitment, because you do have to be committed. Let your yays be yays and let your nays be your nays be nays. You do have to commit, and you're gonna have to stand by what you say. But if you follow God, you may have to shift gears from something that you understood at one point, something that you thought was good. And now that God has enlightened you, you're gonna have to get up off of that, and you're gonna have to go to where God is showing you. Okay? Make sure you follow God. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us do what we do and keeping that chat room humming. Please do not miss this opportunity to give your life to Christ right now. Make that commitment to give your life to Christ. Please do not hesitate. Spend any more time not drawing closer to the Lord. Take this opportunity to do that right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Let's Talk About It Tuesday, Church Folk Day. Until then, I love